Hello everybody, I am Hetsko, and today I'm back with a brand new Doctor Who Series 12 video. This has been a long time in the making. We have already made one of these earlier on in the year, before we had any sort of trailers or, well, any sort of real information. This was a long time ago, but this is the updated version of Series 12, everything we know so far. This will be the last one of these we make. The next kind of similar video for Series 12 that we're going to be getting of this on the channel will be for Episode 1, specifically everything we know in depth about Episode 1, and that should be coming out hopefully a day or two before New Year's Day, so that should be quite nice. Hopefully that's something to look forward to. Anyway, let's get right into this video. There's a lot of information to cover, a lot of rumours, a lot of speculation, but a lot of confirmed stuff as well that some people aren't actually aware of, so it's going to be quite fun to kind of break it down, compile it together and showcase it on this little fun video. So yes, I hope you enjoy. We'll start this by talking about the layout of Series 12. Series 12 contains 10 episodes starting on January 1st, continuing on Sunday the 5th and following every Sunday after that, meaning it should be about 9 weeks, 10 episodes basically. After Series 12 there will be a special. It's looking to be a festive special, so it's either going to air at Christmas 2020 or New Year's Day 2021, but there's not too much information around the airing of that, just we know it has been filmed, so we'll get to that. Talking about individual episodes, we'll start with Episode 1, Spyfall Part 1, which is airing on the 1st of January 2020. It's written by Chris Chibnall, directed by Jamie Stone. It's guest starring Stephen Fry as a character called C, or Head of Secret Intelligence at MI6. The C is probably a sort of play on the sort of James Bond M type thing, if you know what I mean. Sir Lenny Henry is playing a character called Daniel Barton, who we can presume is some sort of billionaire, kind of playboy guy who sort of lives in a sort of big old mansion, has loads of planes and stuff. It's established between the two clips, which we'll talk about that in just a bit, but there's been 2 clips released from this episode which kind of show a little bit of Stephen Fry's character, show a little bit of Lenny Henry's character, so we'll discuss those in just a little bit. The actors behind Yaz's mum, sister and father are all returning in this episode, playing the same roles as before, so Yaz's family will appear in this, as will Sergeant Ramesh Sundar, who was Yaz's fellow police officer, kind of captain type person, but it depends on how you look at it. Her immediate superior, basically, the one who is telling her to, get a life in The Woman Who Fell to Earth. Struan Roger voices something called Kasavin, with 2 A's. That's quite impressive. I don't know what that is. I presume that's some sort of alien creature, because of its sort of weird non-Earth-like name. But yes, we'll soon find out. And the fact that it's voicing as well would presume that it's some sort of CGI character. A little bit like the Remnants last year, the Remnants even. How am I pronouncing that? The sort of cloth things in the Ghost Monument, they're voiced by someone who isn't actually there on set. So yeah. Same with the Daleks. The Daleks aren't, there's not someone in the costume of the Dalek speaking, it's Nicholas Briggs off stage with a microphone. So it's similar sort of thing to that, I presume, if it's voicing the character and not actually playing the character. We've got some more casting here, but I'm basically just going to drop it on screen because it's pointless just reading it all out when you can just see it all in one. There's, a rendition man, US operative, older passenger, so again, something on a plane, a sniper, an agent called Browning, Cisse, Ethan, Mr. Collins, Thibault. Lots of different characters there. We don't know anything about them. We just know who they're, who's playing them, and that's basically it. The official synopsis for this episode has been released, and that is: intelligence agents around the world are under attack from alien forces. MI6 turns to the only people who can help, the Doctor and friends, as they travel the globe for answers. Attacks come from all sides. Earth's security rests on this team's shoulders. But where will this planet-threatening conspiracy lead them? I love a conspiracy, in the words of the 13th Doctor. So yeah, it's an interesting synopsis. To break that down a little bit, again, not too much information, not more than, it's basically some sort of alien threat, and MI6 are like, Doctor, we need your help, basically. And there's some sort of conspiracy based on planet Earth, so that should be quite interesting. There is a clip that was shown on Graham Norton's show, which I'll show a little bit of now, just to give you context.
The planet is at stake. Can we rely upon you?
Yeah, I can't really show too much, obviously, because I'll get, the video taken down. I don't really want that. But basically, it kind of sums up that there is something going around Earth rewriting and scrambling people's DNA, as shown by the victim who's lying on the table, and the sort of shock horror by Jodie saying that it's not something, Earth tech, it's definitely something alien that's doing this. So that's quite an interesting little bit for the episode. This particular person was found on a plane. There's been lots of things from planes in the trailers, so again, we'll talk about that in just a little bit. In the second clip, we have Yaz and Ryan in some sort of disguise type thing. Not a disguise, but like, using pseudonyms to kind of infiltrate and interview Lenny Henry's character, Daniel Barton. I'll show a little bit of a clip from that.
Right then. Good to go?
Just searching you up. Check you are who you say you are.
And that was aired on the One show, I believe, when Lenny Henry was on. They were like, okay, let's show a little bit of your thing in Doctor Who. So yeah, a little interesting clip there. Nothing too much and too exciting in depth, really, but it's, you know, it's summarising this character as a bit of a sort of secret guy. Not many people get to go and see him. Not many people get to interview him. He's very specific about that. So I'm interested to see where that's going to go and why Yaz and Ryan have to use alternate names, for example. There's lots of different clips. This seems to be the one where Jodie and the crew are all wearing tuxedos. They go to some sort of vineyard, which I presume is owned by Daniel Barton. He seems like the kind of person to have some sort of, you know, holiday home with a vineyard, and, you know, he's in that scene anyway, in the car chase with a gun. They're all on motorbikes. There are shots of Jodie and the crew running towards a plane, trying to open the cargo hatch at the back from the trailer. There are shots of Yaz, Graham, etc. on the on a plane, on a train. What am I talking about? On a plane, sort of screaming or whatever. So that, I mean, there's different things we can assume, but it basically sums up what Chris Chibnall's been saying, which is this episode promises to be one of the biggest scale, action-packed Doctor Who stories to date. I'm personally not going to expect anything as law-defining as Day of the Doctor, but expect something, you know, maybe big scale and exciting at the very least. They filmed in Swansea Guildhall, which will double for MI6, I presume, and yeah, this is the one of the 2 tuxedo episodes. Based on the fact that this is a 2-parter, and we'll talk a little bit more about this when we're talking about episode 2, this, I'm guessing, we'll have Jodie get zapped back in time at the end of this episode by something other than the TARDIS. So she's going to be stranded back in time in episode 2. That's my guess, anyway. However, we have a little bit more information about episode 2, so we'll talk about that right now. Episode 2, Spyfall, Part 2, which is airing on the 5th of January 2020. There's no writer being confirmed for this one, but because it's a 2-parter, I'm assuming it's going to be Chris Chibnall. The director is Lee Haven-Jones, and the synopsis is as follows. Part 2 of 2, a terrifying plan to destroy humanity is about to reach fruition. Can the Doctor and her companions escape multiple traps and defeat a deadly alliance? Jodie Whittaker, Tosin Cole, Bradley Walsh, and Mandip Gill star. So that's a really interesting one. It goes against all the information we currently have, based on, you know, time zones, but because it's being incredibly vague, I can assume that it's still going to match up with what we know so far, so we'll go on about that. This is the episode, I believe, that takes place half in 1943 Nazi-occupied Paris, and the other half in modern day. As I said, I think Jodie gets zapped back in time, hence the clip in her in the trailer, the Series 12 trailer, where she asks where she is, and she seems surprised by that. She's not with the companions, she's by herself, and obviously, you know, if you're in the TARDIS, you'd know where you are. Similar to Rosa last year, she stepped up the TARDIS, knew exactly where she was, and this time she had to ask someone, so I can only presume that that is going to be some sort of surprise zap back in time with some sort of vortex manipulator or external thing. Maybe the thing from Rosa last series where someone displaces someone through time, for example. It could be something like that, so yeah, that's kind of something I'm expecting. So half of this is going to be the 1943 Paris episode, because again, the costume matches, tuxedo, everything like that, with Noor Inayat Khan, who is a historical figure, so we'll talk about that as well. There's a lot of information to cover, and I feel like I'm just rambling, but hopefully some of this is good. Aurora Mariam plays Noor Inayat Khan. We found this out because she accidentally leaked it to her Instagram profile a while ago, but her character, Noor Inayat Khan, is some sort of female spy agent who was around during Nazi-occupied Paris in this era, so it does fit incredibly well. The actress did post something to her Instagram about filming her character's death, but that doesn't really make too much sense, because this episode being 1943 Paris, it's around about a year before that historical figure's actual death, and the death being inside a concentration camp. I don't think we're going to see anything quite so brutal in a sort of Doctor Who episode, but who knows? We did get Demons of the Punjab last year, which was quite brutal and had some dark, heavy-hitting themes, so it wouldn't shock me too much if they did do something like that, but I think it's quite unlikely at this point, so maybe that was just some sort of mistranslation or misinterpretation of some scene that she was doing or something. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this episode, especially, you know, alongside the first one as one big kind of story, 2 different time zones, you know, getting zapped back in time through space and stuff, with Jodie not having the TARDIS in episode 2 and having to get back. Either we're going to see Jodie live through, you know, just under 100 years of life on Earth, trying to avoid herself, past companions, etc., to catch up with modern day, or we're going to see someone else pilot the TARDIS to come and pick her up. So that should be quite interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes, potentially, because again, the big bombastic scale that's been promised could be hinting to something a little bit more hiding beneath the surface. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing where that goes. Andrew Burford is playing heavy/bad guy, so we can only presume that's going to be some sort of Nazi soldier who's just like, you know, a little bit like Indiana Jones. There was just some big Nazi guy with loads of muscles fighting Indiana Jones outside a plane. You know, it's the heavy character. So yeah, that's all we know about that episode, but I presume it's going to be the sort of, you know, it's the second part. It's Spyfall Part 2, so it's going to have connecting themes with the first one. It's going to follow on. It's going to be one big, impactful story, and I presume they'll just all fly away in the TARDIS at the end of the episode. So yes, I look forward to that. Episode 3 is some new information here, which I'm actually quite excited to talk about. It's called Orphan 55, is episode 3, and it will be airing on the 12th of January 2020. It's written by Ed Heim and directed by Lee Haven Jones. The official synopsis is as follows. Having decided that everyone could do with a holiday, the Doctor takes Graham, Yasmin, Ryan to a luxury resort for a spot of rest and relaxation. However, they discover the place where they are having a break is hiding a number of deadly secrets. What are the ferocious monsters that are attacking the Tranquility Spa? Guest starring Laura Fraser and James Buckley, alongside Jodie Whittaker as the 13th incarnation of the Time Lord, and Bradley Walsh, Mandip Gill, and Tosin Cole, as well as her... as her trusty travelling companions, not as well as. Interesting bit of information here. It matched everything we talked about in the first video, about everything we know so far. I said this could be the one with James Buckley in, and it seems that that's absolutely the case here. That synopsis and title, by the way, comes from an official TV Digi guide, so it is quite accurate. So that's actually quite fun to be able to have that information. I doubted it at first, but everyone's been talking about it, sharing it around, and I looked at the official source, and yeah, it matches. So yeah. James Buckley was talked about a while ago, filming in Tenerife under Lee Haven Jones, and he was described as having some sort of green wig and playing a character called Nevi. So again, no photos of this shoot, so it could be totally wrong, the whole green wig thing, but that could be anything, basically. But to know that James Buckley and Laura Fraser are both in this episode is quite fun. Yay, that's nice, isn't it? Okay, so now we've covered the first 3 episodes and the layout of the series, we're going to talk about directors and writers before we continue talking about individual episodes. So, directors, we have Jamie Stone for Block 1, which is episodes 1 and 5, Lee Haven Jones for Block 2, which is episodes 2 and 3, Nida Manzo for Block 3, which is episodes 4 and 6, Emma Sullivan, Block 4, for episodes 7 and 8, and Jamie Stone, again, for Block 5, episodes 9 and 10. Lee Haven Jones is doing Block 6, which we can only presume is obviously going to be the festive special. Okay, let's talk about writers. Chris Chibnall is obviously here because he's the showrunner. He is doing 4 episodes, and again, presumably the festive special as well, so 5 out of 11? Or 4 out of 10, depending on how you look at it. It's totally up to you. I think that's a good amount. It's less than Series 11, so I think that's a good thing. It's good to see what different writers can do with the series, so I'm quite happy Chibnall's doing a decent amount, but not like loads, if you know what I mean. Ed Heim's returning. He wrote It Takes You Away last year, which was a great episode. I'm sure a lot of people can agree. And he's returning for episode 3, Orphan 55. Pete McTeague wrote Kablam last year, and he does some of the classic box set Blu-ray stuff with the Ace Returns and Joe Grant Returns. He writes and directs those wonderful little shorts. He's a big Doctor Who fan, so it's great to see him back on board this year. And Kablam wasn't a bad episode, so I'm actually quite happy to see him on the Series 12 writing table. Not a clue which episode he's writing, though. Vinay Patel is also returning. He wrote Demons of the Punjab last year, which was my personal favourite episode of Series 11, so it's great to see him back on board. Hopefully he's doing another historical, something hard-hitting like last year. That'll be quite exciting and fun. Maxine Alderton is a new writer for the series. We haven't had her in Doctor Who before, but she is doing, she's doing an episode of this series. Charlene James is exactly the same there, another person who's coming onto the series, onto the show for the very first time to write for Series 12, so again, not much there, but exciting, new stuff. Nina Metavir, who was the script editor last year for 2 episodes, I believe it was It Takes You Away and The Woman Who Fell to Earth, correct me if I'm wrong, so she was script editor for those episodes, but she hasn't actually written a story, but she has written one this year, and that will be the episode with Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison, which we'll be talking about just now. Episode 4, we have nothing really confirmed about it at all, so we're going to just put the Nikola Tesla story, because we know a lot about that, thanks to some interviews and some basic information that we see from the trailers, behind the scenes stuff, etc. We know a lot about that episode, but we don't know which episode that's going to be, so let's just assume that episode 4 is going to be the Nikola Tesla one, and we'll go from there. Meaning untitled, and it will air on January 19th, 2020. The Tesla story is written by Nina Metavir, but episode 4, whether it's a Tesla episode or not, is directed by Nida Manzoor. If we're assuming it's the Tesla episode, it will be set in 1903 New York, with Goran Vishnik, probably butchered that name, as Nikola Tesla, and Robert Glenister as Thomas Edison. Alongside this, presumably, Anjali Mohindra as Queen Skithra? Skithra? I believe that's the right pronunciation of that. If we don't know who she is, she played not the Rani, she played Rani in the Sarah Jane Adventures, and now she's playing that Rachnos-looking creature, which I believe is called Queen Skithra, in this story, alongside Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison. It's going to be very exciting, actually. There's not too much we know about this other than what's in the trailers. You know, we see a few lines from Tesla, and we see some sort of scorpion creature falling into a market. It looks like the companions are going to be wearing historical clothing, which is great, because it's such a minor nitpick, but for me that was quite an important thing. Like when they did the whole Witchfinders episode, they weren't wearing like they weren't wearing era appropriate clothing at all. Like Graham was just walking around in a jacket, and it was just a bit weird. So it's good to see I believe Manduk Gill here in this shot wearing a sort of historical 1900s get-up. Chibnall was quoted in saying the following about this story: "There is a night in Tesla's life where there are huge electrical storms, rumours of flying saucers. He talks about how he's received contact from aliens. We are just interpreting the facts." He also said Tesla was an underappreciated scientific genius who also claimed in real life that he had received messages from Mars. So that's going to be quite interesting to see that explored and expanded upon in this story. I kind of hope it is episode 4, because it's one I'm quite looking forward to, sort of early on, beginning of the series type thing. But yeah, it might not be, but either way, whatever the Tesla episode falls in the series, like I'm looking forward to it. This sounds pretty good. Episode 5, currently untitled and will air on the 26th of January 2020. The writer is currently unknown, and it will be directed by Jamie Stone, and that is pretty much everything we know so far about this episode. IMDb says Sea Devils. A lot of people keep tagging me in this sort of thing, and I will reiterate my kind of statement on it. IMDb can be edited by anyone. Yes, it is verified and checked over, whatever, and sometimes things are removed, sometimes things stay until the very last minute, and they're suddenly removed out of nowhere. A reminder that when I was kind of making these videos for Series 11, the Celestial Toymaker was in episode 10, and the Yeti was in like episode 7 or something. So IMDb is not a reliable source of information. Sometimes it gets stuff right, sometimes it gets stuff wrong, but saying that it's on IMDb does not make it fact. So I have no reason to believe the Sea Devils are actually in Series 12. If they are, I'll be quite impressed and quite surprised, but it just doesn't fit with anything we've seen so far. I think that's something that either would have revealed in an interview or the trailers or something, or maybe they are trying to keep it secret if they are doing it, but I just find it highly unlikely at this point. And the fact that the only real argument towards there being Sea Devils in this series is that something weird comes, teleports on the beach. Ooh, interesting. There is an episode which is on a beach. Ooh, interesting. And IMDb says Sea Devils, and I'm like, yeah, but IMDb says a lot of things. Doesn't mean it's true. That being said, though, we did look at the Mirror a while ago. The Mirror are actually quite accurate. I know a lot of people go, "Oh, it's the Mirror. What are you taking?" It's not fact. It's technically not fact. But they have a very good track record with recent Doctor Who. They got Bradley Walsh casting very, very correct. Daleks returning in Series 11 special. They got that correct. No Christmas special last year. What else did they get right? They got a lot of things right. Even this year, they've got a lot of predictions and stuff about Cybermen and potentially Mary Shelley, which we'll get on to. But yeah, they have got a lot of things right, and they did make an article earlier this year saying that Doctor Who, in one of the episodes in Series 12, would explore the themes of plastic waste in the oceans, etc, etc, etc. A lot of people make the connections with either Autons or Sea Devils, and then there's another sort of reasoning for the whole Sea Devils argument. Now, this could very well be the plasticky episode, plastic waste one, but yeah, again, nothing to confirm that, nothing really other than word of mouth to suggest that's actually a thing. So yeah, basically episode 5 we know next to nothing about, unlike episode 6, which we know a hell of a lot about. Episode 6, which is currently untitled and will air on the 2nd of February 2020. No writer has been confirmed for this, but I'm going to guess Chibnall, because I like to have a bit of a laugh with these things. The reason I think it's Chibnall is because if this is the Judoon episode, which is what we're going to talk about now, I feel like Chibnall will be the one to helm that, mainly because it's been used in a lot of promotion. Like the main focus of promotion for the series, like Judoon promotional picture, they had that thing at Victoria Station where they had Judoon people walking about and interacting with fans and stuff. So with it being a big promotional focus for the series, my guess would be Chris Chibnall. I could be totally wrong. I probably am totally wrong. But I'm guessing it's going to be Chibnall. But yeah. We know this is going to be episode 6, the Junoon episode, because it has to be a Nida Manzoor episode. Nida Manzoor is only directing this episode and then the one earlier in the series. I think it was episode 4. She's doing episode 4 and 6. Nida Manzoor's directing. And Nida Manzoor was actually on location with the Junoon directing them. So we know it has to be one of those 2 episodes, and I kind of think it's going to be episode 6. The Junoon episode it has a lot of information around it, basically because they were filming very publicly. They announced this, we've got a lot of stuff to go on, so we'll basically just summarise basically what we've got. This is exactly the same information that we had in the last Everything We Know so far about Series 12 video, so I'm going to try and summarise this as quickly and as easily as possible. Chris Chibnall said they're the Junoon land in contemporary Gloucester to investigate a space crime. The Junoon shoot an old woman, they threaten and scan many people minding their own business around the area. Jodie and the Junoon did film a full day inside the cathedral, which obviously we don't have pictures of, but they also go to a cafe in Cardiff, where all the main cast were in fact present. Inside the cathedral, we don't know what that looks like. It could be it could be kitted out with something, but there was a shot in the second trailer with someone lying on the floor in a very futuristic looking spaceship design, and there was some sort of I think it was an organ in the background, which a lot of people thought, ooh, organ, church, cathedral, you know, all that sort of thing. So there's a lot of things raised about that. That could be the inside of the cathedral that day, we don't know. Might be, might not be, probably not. We saw from the trailer that a Junoon ship is seen firing a laser towards Earth, presumably to be some sort of teleport ray for the Junoon. We know that there's some sort of green screen element, which is involving the Junoon walking out with the green screen behind them. And it doesn't look like the ship's landed anywhere either, because they haven't done any big establishing shots. But hey, we'll see. They might land. But I quite like the idea that maybe the Junoon don't have any sort of authorization over Earth, hence why they picked up the hospital and put it on the moon in Smith & Jones. So instead of actually landing their ship there, they used some sort of teleport ray. And I also don't think the Junoon would just openly fire a laser at Earth. It just seems a bit weird. So maybe that's what that is. The shot of 13 and the Junoon from the promotional photo may well be inside a Junoon ship or even the cathedral. So yeah, we know that's been pimped out with alien tech, as we saw and talked about before. But again, it could be either or. Could be inside a Junoon ship, could be inside the cathedral, I don't know. Neil Stuck stars in this episode, as does Nick Briggs, who obviously does the voice of the Junoon. There's new blasters, there's new hair, and yeah, according to Chris Chibnall himself, they've got a big case to investigate, and it's going to be quite seismic. So that's quite an interesting description of this episode. Hoping for some big surprises and fun stuff in this episode, because it's Junoon and it's an older monster coming back, and that should be quite fun. We'll quickly talk about episode 7 because we don't really know anything about it. Episode 7, currently untitled, airing on the 9th of February 2020. No clue who the writer is. It's directed by Emma Sullivan. No story ideas, but Emma Sullivan did post a few pictures to her Instagram from filming, and showing one with Jodie in some sort of weird handcuff and sort of weird sort of alien background. Should be on screen now, hopefully. That matches a couple of shots from the second trailer, I believe, as well, or the first trailer. I can't really remember. It all kind of melds into one for me. But it could be that episode, so that's I only guess I've got so far. We'll talk about some basic information about the series now, which is sort of just covers sort of interesting stuff, because, yeah, why not? It'll be a laugh. We know that cold opens are back, so the little scene that plays before the Doctor Who theme, they're back now. It doesn't just start, like Series 11 started with just the Doctor Who theme and then the episode, opposed to having anything before it, so that's quite exciting to have that back. We'll see if that works with the modern format. Yaz apparently has some sort of secret that she's been hiding since Series 11, so yeah, we'll have to kind of work out what that's going to be. A lot of people have theorised that it could be a sexuality thing, and a lot of people have been shipping that whole Phasmin thing. I'm personally not a big thing of that. I just don't really like the idea of the Doctor being in sort of relationships, but each to their own. If they do explore Yaz to be LGBT, that could be interesting and a bit of a different twist, sort of a main secret, or maybe she's killed someone or something, or I think someone guessed that she might have been fired from the police work after Woman Who Fell to Earth, and that might be her big secret, hence why in the trailer, when she's standing outside the police station, she's not actually wearing a police uniform, just her normal clothes. So yeah, could be something to do with that, I don't know. Also, Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall are both staying for Series 13. Jodie's TARDIS has had some big changes, officially released now as part of some promotional photos and all that sort of stuff. We can see the new TARDIS design in all its beautiful splendour. So it seems on the pillars we have new blue lights on the sides where the sort of nuts and bolts were. At the bottom of the pillars, instead of just having it sort of crystallised, we've got some sort of blocked light box type thing. On the main console itself, you've got sort of smoke projectors, which is what it kind of looks like. I believe this is described online, it might just be a rumour or something, but it looks like the sort of smoke screen comes out of this sort of thing and then something's projected onto it. That's basically what I can assume so far. I think that was going around on Twitter a while ago, but I could be totally wrong with that one. The ceiling has some sort of extra crystal which now comes down, I believe, onto the console, which is then supported by more of that sort of not crystalline but sort of hexagonal glass panelling at the top, which looks really nice. And of course we have stairs now as well, stairs which lead into a doorway and a corridor, so there's a little bit more to explore in the TARDIS. Hopefully that means we're going to see more of the TARDIS this series. Hopefully that means we might have an episode based inside the TARDIS, who knows, but there is a staircase there, so at the very least they're going to walk down or sit on the staircase. There could be some further changes, but again, we don't know for sure, what's been picked up for this new TARDIS. I think the designs look really good. I think the changes are really good. I actually really like this TARDIS design. A lot of people don't. Perfectly fine. But I personally think this is somewhat of an improvement. So quite excited to see how that looks on screen. Now on to episode 8, which is currently untitled and will air on the 16th of February 2020. Writer is currently unknown and it will be directed by Emma Sullivan. Maxim Baldry from Years and Years and Mr. Bean's Holiday. Not his biggest acting role, I know, but yeah. He is apparently in this story. There was a rumour published a while ago from the Mirror which suggests we might get a Cyberman story based around the characters of Mary Shelley and all that sort of thing, that era, to inspire Mary Shelley to write Frankenstein based off a Cyberman story. A lot of people make comparisons to the Silver Turk. We're not going to get into it because we've just covered it so many times, but basically the way we're looking at it is that could be a thing. Chris Chibnall was in fact quoted in saying, when asked about a Mary Shelley story for Doctor Who Series 12, he said, there might be. It really would be a great setting for a Doctor Who episode, wouldn't it? So, yeah, he hasn't confirmed it, but he's sort of hinting towards it, and obviously the Mirror, with their reliable sources recently, especially in recent years, that could be quite promising, quite exciting. Talking about Cybermen, I thought I'd just reach upon the fact that I think there's going to be 2 different Cyberman stories this series, or at least 2 different designs of Cybermen. If you look at the one in the trailer, it looks very much like Matt Savage's fan design from years ago. Although a little bit more rusty, a little bit more broken down, a little bit more sort of a mixed match of loads of different Cyberman parts. Whereas the ones that we saw filming that leaked a while ago, all standing in formation, very, very bright silver, and big sort of earpieces like the Earthshock Cybermen, which is not what we saw in the trailer. So it makes me think that we're going to be getting some sort of, I don't know, maybe something a little bit like Series 1 with Dalek, and then, parting on the ways, so you have one Dalek and it's all rusty and broken and it's just the last one left, and then at the end of the series you get this big bombastic thing with loads of Daleks. Maybe it's something like that with Cybermen, or maybe it's something a little bit like that with Resolution, where you've got like a sort of scrap metal Cyberman trying to call a fleet, but instead of the Dalek being unsuccessful, the Cyberman is, and whatever, there's a new Cyberman towards the end of the series. That's just my guess, but there's definitely 2 different designs, 2 different new designs of Cybermen in this series, which is quite exciting indeed. Episodes 9 and 10, currently untitled, and will air on the 23rd of February and the 1st of March 2020. No confirmed writer, but I reckon either 1 or 2 of these will be written by Chris Chibnall. Both of these will be directed by Jamie Stone, which makes me suspect that these are going to be a big 2-part story, these 2 episodes, and it looks to be the Cybermen one. Again, looking at filming, this is Block 5, which is the last one they did before they started filming the special. We know the special is the Dalek one, we'll get onto that, but when they were filming Block 5, that was the one with the Cybermen in. That was the one with the cool looking silver Cybermen, the sort of Knights in Shining Armour versions of the Cybermen, so maybe this is something to do with that. Maybe we're going to get, again, as I said, maybe 2 different Cyberman stories throughout the series, maybe a big sort of 3-part ending to a Cyberman story. That would be really nice, although a lot of people have complained that it's a bit too soon for a Cyberman story. However, new designs, as long as it's not the Nightmare in Silver one, I'm excited to see what they're going to do with it. So yeah, crossing my fingers, we might be getting some sort of Cyberman 2-parter, or even a 3-parter there, we don't know yet, but I'm quite excited. And final episode we're going to touch upon today is the special episode, currently untitled, and will air on probably Christmas Day 2020 or New Year's Day 2021, or somewhere around there. It looks like it's going to be a festive special. This is the Dalek story. The Bronze Daleks seem to have arrived on Earth and are trying to kill these sort of new chic looking black Daleks, just killing them off, just blowing them up. There's bits and bats of black Dalek on the floor. There's, you know, the cool shots of the bronze Daleks. It looks great and it looks exciting. It's sort of maybe a Remembrance of the Daleks type feel, you know, sort of maybe a Dalek civil war, you know, some impure Daleks and some pure Daleks, both of them thinking they're superior. That could be an interesting episode. I'd be actually quite interested to see where they go with that. So yeah, I'm thinking something maybe Remembrance of the Daleks-y, but with a better CGI budget, you know, modern day effects, all that sort of thing. There's also shots of people running through the streets, like screaming, with explosions going on, so it looks like it's going to be a big bombastic scale type episode with 2 different fleets of Daleks, maybe, or maybe these black Daleks are, I'm totally wrong with that, maybe they are unique special Daleks, a bit like the Special Weapons Daleks, again, harking back to Remembrance of the Daleks. So yeah, it could be anything, but this is the big Dalek story, the big Dalek Earth story. I'm hoping what Chibnall's going to do over his era is like make the individual Christmas, New Year's Day specials the only Dalek stories, because that would be pretty cool to have a sort of Dalek story which progresses one episode every year, opposed to having like a series arc about a Dalek, having like, oh, there's the individual Dalek in Resolution, which then ties into this special, which will air like almost 2 years after Resolution, and then go, oh, maybe this is the reason something happened in Resolution is because this, and this, and then, you know, maybe a year or 2 after that we'll get another New Year's Day special, which is again about the Daleks, and maybe like the concluding chapter of a 3-part Dalek story. That would be really cool. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see for that one, because that is going to be a long time coming. That's still over a year away. Okay, so now we've broken down pretty much everything we know about each episode. We're going to talk about some sort of extra stuff. We're going to discuss rumours, we're going to discuss things that have been confirmed, etc. I'm sorry, this video is a really long one, and it is a bit of a shame because there's so much information here, but we're just going to go through as much as we can. Here's a few quotes, so we'll go through. You will be going to places and investigating things we didn't have the space to explore last year. So it's deeper into the Doctor, deeper into the Doctor Who world, deeper into the lives of the companions. We're just kind of carrying on our journey and going deeper, which is, again, that's a good thing. That sounds great. There are loads of facets of the 13th Doctor that we explore this year that we didn't have space or time to explore last year. There are some very big and profound challenges coming for the Doctor in this year's series. Again, looking forward to that. Chris Chibnall confirmed that they did film on Lake Geneva. Not sure which episode that was for, but they did film there. An actress called Molly Harris has been cast as Suki Cheng in a Series 12 episode directed by Jamie Stone, but because Jamie Stone's directing 4 out of the 10 Series 12 episodes, it's hard to be able to tell. A scene was filmed between 2 new aliens in a street in Cardiff, and they look ridiculous, so I hope they're going to be CGI'd the hell up, but yeah, fans on Twitter did give them the nicknames of Voldemort and Elsa for obvious reasons if you can see the photo on screen. Not sure which episode this falls under, they didn't appear in the trailer or anything, so it's hard to kind of make any sort of big sort of predictions or jumps or anything like that, so it could be anything. Let's talk about some rumours that have been going around. That'll be a laugh, won't it? Because it seems that people just believe anything nowadays. So let me just break this down for you in the biggest sense of it, right? If you have a video, a tweet, a post, a Gallifrey-based thing, or, you know, some sort of rumour video on YouTube, that includes myself, if there's no information properly sourced in the video, you have absolute full right to ask, what's your source? And usually if they can't answer, it's probably not true. Now, yeah, occasionally you might get things that are genuinely true, and I'm not going to try and discredit that, because there are a lot of people who do put rumours out there and go, this is what I've heard, might just be saying, this is what I've heard. It's not like anything confirmed or anything, but when people say it's confirmed this is happening, but they don't have any sort of accurate source to back that up, it gets on my nerves a little bit when people just believe that without any questioning at all. So we're going to break down a few of those right now. There was a rumour that went around a while ago about, oh, David Tennant's going to be in an episode this series, and the 13th Doctor's going to lecture him for being a man. First of all, that's absolutely ridiculous. Second of all, David Tennant is obviously incredibly busy and probably isn't in Series 12. You know, he probably would have been spotted filming if they brought him back, let's be honest. So that's just ridiculous. It's very clearly made up to pander for a sort of, oh, look how progressive the new series is being, let's hate Jodie Whittaker, you know, it's one of those ones. There was another one as well which suggested that William Hartnell was not the first Doctor, but was in fact the first Doctor in a second cycle of regenerations. The first cycle of regenerations, the first 13 Doctors, were all female. Oh, come on, this is ridiculous. Now, this obviously won't happen because that is mental. You know, there's no accurate source there at all. I don't know where that came from. It just came from a tweet that I saw. A lot of people took this up as a, oh god, if this is real, if this is legit, we're all screwed. I'm like, yeah, I'd agree, we probably are, but that's probably why it isn't real or legit, because there's no way that would ever happen. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. Rose returning. No, she's not. Sea Devils. Yeah. And moving on from that, I think there's a few rumours that go around every single year, and basically what you need to do is you need to look at them and be analytical and go, actually, is that real? Where did you get that information from? Where is this sourced? And, you know, some people could say, oh, a reliable source, and sometimes they might be right, but a lot of the time you'll find you'll just be disappointed if you get your hopes up for big things like the Sea Devils. I don't know if you remember last year for Series 11, but there was a lot of rumours going around about the TARDIS having its own native cat called Percy, John Barrowman appearing in The Woman Who Fell to Earth, for example. You had Sia singing the theme tune, and a lot of people build their hopes up, especially for stuff like Barrowman, or even the cat people were quite, you know, looking forward to and interested. People just end up being disappointed, you know? I don't know if you remember there was theories about a Dalek appearing at the end of episode 10, or you know, Susan Foreman showing up in It Takes You Away. It's like, there's so many different rumours and weird bits of speculation that people just throw out of thin air, and then people get their hopes up and think, ooh, I can't wait for this to happen, and then it doesn't happen, and then they blame the BBC because they believed a rumour that was never true in the first place, that someone just made up. Always question sources, and even me, you know, if I make a video, news video, anything like that, even this video here, leave it in the comments. If you want something sourced, if you want, where did you get this information from, I'll happily reply to you as soon as possible if I get to read it, which I usually do read all the comments for these sort of things. If you ask for a source for something, I'll provide it. I'll link you to something where you'll be able to read it up yourself and see how legit it is yourself. But everything I'm putting here is either rumour, speculation, or, you know, genuinely confirmed, or just what could be true. You know, I'm not trying to say anything that's in this video could be legit, but there are a lot of it is legit, because a lot of it, we're getting closer to the series, is confirmed. So anyway, I'm going to stop rambling, but basically that's just a little bit of a sort of thing to go at the end there. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like, comment below for any more suggestions in the future. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to support this channel more than just sharing the videos around and subscribing and liking and all that sort of stuff, you can support me on Patreon. It's totally optional, but you get early access content, which will be very helpful for the Series 12 stuff, I'm pretty sure. We're getting closer and closer to Series 12 now, like a week and a half away or something. It's mental. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. But there'll be lots of Series 12 content, lots of other content as well, which I'm going to try and get out in between. So if you do want to support the channel, get early access content, get credited and name in all my descriptions and all that sort of stuff, etc, 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 you can check that out in the link in the description. We've also got a Discord server if you want to join the conversation about Doctor Who week by week. And yeah, that's pretty much that from me. If you've enjoyed this video, we've done all that. Anyway, see you all, see you all next time. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye bye.